against Cockroach Janta Party protesters. The petitioner wanted the court to look at videos of the crackdown. But the Chief Justice had a blunt response. Don't waste our time. Don't waste your time. We are not interested in videos. We don't have time to watch videos. And the CJI's remarks have now triggered fresh political backlash. Aam Aadmi Party leader Somnath Bharti questioned whether courts could refuse to hear allegations of police brutality against protesters. Shiv Sena UBT MP Priyanka Chaturvedi responded with a sarcastic, amazing. And the Cockroach Janta Party's founder and spokesperson hit out at the CJI. The party, which has been protesting over India's education system and demanding Dharmendra Pradhan's resignation, takes its name from remarks made by Chief Justice Surya Kant earlier this year. In May, during a hearing, the CJI spoke of parasites attacking the system and compared unemployed youngsters to cockroaches, saying some join the media, some become activists and target every institution. The backlash was immediate. The remarks were seen as an attack on unemployed youngsters, and then came the clarification. Days later, the Chief Justice said his remarks has been misquoted and that he was referring to fake degree holders and bogus lawyers, not unemployed youth. But by then, the word had escaped the courtroom and the internet had given it a new life. The Cockroach Janta Party was born. What began as a parody page became a digital movement, and soon the movement spilled onto the streets. Thousands gathered at Jantar Mantar, a protest led largely by young people. And now, the movement born from a courtroom remark is back before the courtroom. This time, asking the Supreme Court to look at what happened to those who carried that word onto the streets. Bureau Report, India Today.
All right, joining me right now is Ms. Indira Jaisingh, Senior Advocate, Supreme Court, former ASG. Ma'am, thank you for taking the time out and joining us this evening. I just want to connect with you. My first question, Ms. Jaisingh, is concerning the latest that is coming from the top court of the country, where they've rejected a plea regarding the alleged brutalities on protesters by the Delhi police, stating that they don't have time to watch videos of these brutalities and that people should stop wasting their time and also their own time.
Yes. Look, I don't think any of us should for a moment believe that the judiciary doesn't watch videos. I know for a fact that there is a full-fledged publicity department existing within the Supreme Court of India, and we all know that from time to time they issue press releases. And for some time now, we have known that there are several judges who have their own press publicity outreach in many different ways. This just indicates that everything that is ever said about the Supreme Court of India is well monitored, not only by the institution, but also by individual judges. And I have reason to believe there have been former judges in the past, now retired, who have personally told me that, yes, we monitor everything in real time. There have been judges who've told me that even while sitting in court, if they're sitting in court 1, especially the Chief Justice of India, they know what's going on in court 10, court 12, court 16, etc., etc. How does this happen? Communication now is so instantaneous. So it is not possible for me to believe that videos are not watched. That's as far as watching of videos goes. As far as the question of waste of time is concerned, I would like to say two things. Number one, I think ill thought of knee-jerk reaction type of petitions ought not to be filed in the Supreme Court of India. Well documented, well thought out, well-argued petitions are most welcome. And then I would like to see any court say we will not hear it. That would be abdication of judicial functions. And that is why you have noticed that today there has been a petition filed in the Delhi High Court by two very...
if you will allow me to interject, are you saying that this is abdication of judicial duty here? Correct me if I'm wrong.
I am saying for any judge to say, we will not hear a well thought out petition dealing with police brutality is an abdication of functions, for the simple reason that Article 32 provides direct access to the Supreme Court of India. Of course, you can also go to the High Court, okay? The question is not which court you go to. The question is there is a mass violation of fundamental rights, and that does require judicial notice, okay? But I'm also saying that we as lawyers ought not to be filing ill thought out petitions which are not substantiated with proper documentation. And it is in this context that I want to point out that the Supreme Court Bar Association and the Delhi High Court Bar Association have filed well drafted, well thought out, good petitions in the Delhi High Court, and therefore the Delhi High Court has been compelled to hear that case. I use a strong word, compulsion. There is a compulsion on the judiciary to hear these issues. Now, see, Preeti, there's one thing I also would like to say to you. This is more about the protests. You know, there are laws in this country which tell us how to deal with so-called law and order situations, with so-called riots. Police are trained in quote-unquote riot control, and one of the primary issues of law is what is the nature of the force that you use in order to quell a riot, okay? I'm not talking about excess force. I'm just talking about force itself. And there are clear police manuals which say you cannot hit anyone above the waist. Now, what is the reason for this? What I have seen from the videos that have been circulation, and I make bold to say that it is my duty to watch every video that is circulating, not only to watch it, but to preserve it. What I have seen is people being hit on the head. Now, I would like to tell you, even a nodding acquaintance with a bit of medical jurisprudence and forensic science will tell you that a hit on the head is incapacitating, sometimes for life, okay? It is a center of cognition. It is the center of what makes you speak. It is the center of what makes you see. It is what your life is all about. And this is the logic behind the direction to the police of law that you will not hit a person above the waist because you're going to destroy their vital organs and for life, right. Okay? So this is a question that the Supreme Court should have seized upon and should have said, this we will not allow. This kind of mass violation of fundamental rights.
Right. But Ms. Jaisingh, Ms. Jaisingh, it's not an attempt for headline hunting. I'm not doing that, but I'll take you back where you say well-drafted petitions, especially where it comes down to protests, is the judicial compulsion of the courts to entertain. You have been the ASG of this country. You are a reputed Supreme Court senior advocate. I would like to ask you, in this particular case, because our timelines are flooded with these videos, would you think this would have warranted an urgent hearing?
Not only would it have warranted an urgent and extraordinary hearing, I would say 24 hours of the day, night or day is not even important in a case of this kind. Yes, my answer is yes. But even more importantly, there is the suo motu jurisdiction of the Supreme Court of India. Okay? And we have seen repeatedly the Supreme Court taking suo motu cognizance of issues which concern the judiciary. It's time for the Supreme Court to take suo motu cognizance of issues which concern you and me. Not just you and me, but people of the age group of 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. These are the people that are being attacked today in the country. And yes, I do think the Supreme Court is under a duty to take suo motu cognizance of what's going on. That's my view. That's my opinion.
I want you, Ms. Jaising, I want you to maybe elucidate for us, because of course this was a petition that was turned down by the top court, leave alone taking suo motu cognizance. Has there been past precedent in cases such as this, a protest march, which there has been, alleged brutalities of the crackdown by the security forces? Is there past precedent of the court stepping in, taking suo motu cognizance?
And the question is not whether there is precedent for taking suo motu cognizance of protest. The question is there past precedents for taking suo motu cognizance, even though the petitions are not well drafted, and there is? The courts have taken cognizance of letters, okay, which don't necessarily contain all the data that should be there on record. They have then gone on to appoint their own commissions, their own committees of social scientists to gather the evidence and place it before the Supreme Court of India, okay? This is the essence of what we call public interest litigation. So what has happened to that jurisprudence of the Supreme Court, I am unable to understand. And you can't have a suo motu jurisdiction which is so totally arbitrary. You take cognizance when it concerns, let's say, something like an attack on the judiciary, and a perceived attack on the judiciary, and not take cognizance of an attack on people of the country.
Ma'am, it's a big thing that with what you've just said, that it's the jurisprudence of the top court to take cognizance of a protest like this. It is rather big. I want to, I want to ask you, like you pointed out, and you've, said a lot with saying, how you've elucidated it. I want to ask you one question. You've studied the Constitution very closely. There is a raging debate right now in the country on where does the right of protest end as per validated in the Constitution, and threat to national security begin. Because the march was illegal. Many people are saying, yes, you have a right to protest, but the march to Parliament was illegal. The cops had to crack down.
Yeah. See, illegal in what sense? Illegal in the sense that it did not have quote-unquote permission, right? Unlawful assembly. I presume that's what they mean by illegality. There is a difference between illegality and unconstitutionality. Let's be very, very clear. I would go to the extent of saying sometimes you have a duty to protest. Forget a right to protest. That's at one level, we all have a right to protest. But at another level, we have a duty to protest when we see our law enforcement agencies violating the law. In fact, if I were to go and join the protest, it would be at the point of time when the law enforcement agencies break the law, okay? It is then your duty. Self-defense is your duty. It is your duty to stop law enforcement agencies from breaking the law, and this is what they have done. So, apart from the question of legality, we need to also discuss the question of morality, okay? We can't leave this debate at the level of, oh, it's illegal. Okay, if it's illegal, if I have violated Section 144 order, now, of course, that section will change. But if I have violated that order, what can you do? Okay, you can pick me up, you can detain me, you can do what you want to do, and then release me once the threat to your perceived threat is over. Mm-hmm. Can you then pick up a lathi and break it on my head? No, you can't. So, just using expressions like, oh, don't use excessive force, that's not good enough. It is, the Supreme Court must understand why. What is the logic behind saying don't hit above the waist? Okay? It's my vital organs that we are talking about. Cognition. And this, I think...
Ma'am, I'm going to ask you one quick question before we let you go. Yes. I'm going to ask you, Ms. Jaising, one quick question before we let you go. The bar has always been very robust in the past, championing various forms of protest. Do you think the bar is also failing in its duty?
I have consistently said that the legal profession has not stood up to the attacks on the constitution that we have seen in the past few years. But I have to say that I'm very pleased that the Supreme Court Bar Association and the Delhi High Court Bar Association has taken up the issue collectively and gone to the High Court. We are awaiting the results. I, for one, will vote. You know, the elections are coming. The Supreme Court Bar Association elections are coming. And my vote will go to the candidate who says, I stand by the Constitution of India. I stand with students.
All right, ma'am, thank you for taking the time out and joining us this evening. I highly appreciate it. Thank you there. I am joined right now by Mr. Rajesh Dwivedi, Senior Advocate, Supreme Court. He's with us clearly to bring to you a contrarian point of view that Mr. Dwivedi has. Mr. Dwivedi, you just heard the conversation with Ms. Indira Jaising, where she's practically said there is constitutional legality, there is constitutional morality, there is jurisprudence, and there is a compulsion, a judicial compulsion on the part of the top court of the country to listen in to pleas which come in where protest is concerned. Leave alone, take suo motu cognizance.
See, first of all, if I say something about the issue which is involved, that is NEET paper leak, I would certainly, I'm in favor of drastic reforms so far as the selection processes are concerned, because what I find is that it is not only NEET, but at several other state level examination also, papers are being leaked. There is so much of corruption. Recently, Supreme Court had set aside a selection process of involving teachers selection in the state of West Bengal when the TMC government, Mamata Banerjee, was in power. And therefore, we have, as you are also aware about this, all over the state, different states, this is happening. So something very serious has to be done. Some serious reforms have to be undertaken to ensure that this corruption ends. It is nothing but corruption. So far, so good. But the question
Mr. Dwivedi, this has nothing to do with NEET. This is where, this has everything to do with protest and what the top court said today, where it rejected a petition, where it came down to alleged brutalities on protesters. By saying we don't have time to watch videos, don't waste my time or yours.
See, having said that, I must say that the Supreme Court does have power to take cognizance of matters involving liberty. It can take also suo motu cognizance when it feels that the matter is such a great national importance and it doesn't involve disputed questions of fact. But if the matter involves investigations, disputed question of facts, there are allegations, counter allegations. One side says that there is lathi charge, other side says 170 policemen have been injured, stone pelting, etc. Evidently, there is breach of the process of law because no permission had been granted. Yet, if you want to march towards Parliament on a time when the Parliament is meeting to discuss issues of national importance, then to march there is to disrupt. Therefore, the Supreme Court rightly refused to take cognizance of this matter because there's a lot of investigation to be done. And Supreme Court is already overloaded with cases, and if it keeps on taking such kind of cases, then in every state there will be protests, and every state there will be some kind of lathi charge or sometimes breaking of the rule of law, stone pelting, etc. is happening all over the country. How many matters can be taken up just because it is happening in Delhi? Why rush to Supreme Court? Go to the High Court. High Court is also there in Delhi. So Article 32 doesn't mean that Supreme Court must take cognizance of all such disputed matters which involve serious questions of fact. Videos are not one-sided. Petitions may be filed with one kind of videos. There are other kind of videos floating in the market. So how will Supreme Court evaluate? Affidavits will be there on both sides. Videos will be on both sides.
So if you're speaking, but I would, sir, the argument could in all of this would also be because if you're talking about videos floating in the market, there are multiple videos. And if one looks at this particular plea, one can entertain and look into what happened on the other side as well, which is protesters turning against the police. How does that take away from videos, sir, which clearly seem to suggest, documented visually, with the police and the rapid action force hitting protesters above the waist with lathis, with tear gas shells hitting them, some of them very serious, critical. One of them was on a ventilator. Nowhere is one taking away from the fact that police personnel were also attacked by certain groups of protesters. But how does it stop the top court of the country to take cognizance, because the top court of the country does look at videos, to take cognizance of this petition, which speaks of alleged brutalities which clearly seem to suggest that the code of that the police has violated, at least by the visual documentary, has violated that code by hitting protesters for, number one, above the waist. And there are multiple videos of that.
I'm sorry, there are multiple videos on both sides, and this is not a matter which can be rushed to the Supreme Court straight
True,
away.
I agree with you.
They should go to High Court.
I agree with you, but how does that take away from this petition that there are videos of the other side?
What is the problem in going to the High Court for this? High Court is also a constitutional court, and High Court can take cognizance of writ petitions and violations of liberty on this side or that side and do what it wants to do. It may constitute a SIT, it may constitute a committee. But if everybody starts going to the Supreme Court, which means the apex court, which must come at the end, not every matter can be taken up under Article 32 straight away. So we are finding today that in every sort of matter...
But sir, some people might feel that this matter... But sir, some people are saying this is not in every kind of matter. This involves a lot, and you are right, there are a lot of people who were in the protest that were politically motivated. There were pockets where these protesters turned against the cops, started to stone pelt. But you can't deny the fact that a huge chunk of these protesters were organically who came out in solidarity, in protest, hapless young boys and girls, students who were attacked brutally, allegedly attacked brutally by the police. And therefore, the urgency of the matter was such that the top court had to be approached. And there comes constitutional morality. There comes jurisprudence.
Some people some people may think this is nothing to do with jurisprudence. Jurisprudence says it is the discretion of the Supreme Court of India to decide. There is no jurisprudence which compels that every matter which comes before the Supreme Court under Article 32, the Supreme Court or the Chief Justice of India must take it on board and get into it and decide. So there are many people who may think that this is very important. The students have been hit above the waist and so on. This is one part of it. Other may feel that, well, go to the High Court also. Why trouble us with the videos? How the Supreme Court judges will get into all this? And there are so many other matters pending since ages which need to be decided. So it's ultimately Supreme Court's discretion. Not one section of the people today may feel that, yes, they should have taken cognizance. Well, they are entitled to think like that. Another section may say that Supreme Court...
I'll ask you one quick question, Ms.
Yes.
Fair point. You have your legal argument. I want to ask you one question. So a lot of people, sir, I'm not comparing the two at all, but a lot of people are looking at in 2012 where the Supreme Court took suo motu cognizance of the protest where Nirbhaya was concerned, and that saw a groundswell of sorts of the youth which came out in protest. So not comparing, but people are suggesting that if the courts could, take suo motu cognizance, and there has been precedent there, what stops the top court of doing it now?
So, well, I myself said that the Supreme Court has authority even suo motu to take. Now, Nirbhaya has no comparison with this. What is happening with Nirbhaya was just symbolic, something which is happening against women all over the country. How do you compare it with this kind of an event where an examination is involved?
No, I'm talking about the protest. So I'm not comparing at all.
So, ma'am,
I'm talking about the nature of protest.
Yeah, I understand.
That saw a groundswell of students. This has also seen a groundswell of students.
No, it's not a question of groundswell of students. It's a question of issue. It is the issue which decides, not the if 5,000, 10,000 people can be collected on any issue in India, anywhere. It's not a big deal today with a population of 1.40 crores. It's not a big deal. So therefore, there's so many, we can't compare with that. The issue of Nirbhaya and the issue involved here, something action has been taken, FIR has been filed, 13 people have been arrested.
At that time, to remind you, the top court of the country had taken suo motu cognizance at the back of police crackdown on protesters. Not to do with what the issue was. It was purely on the crackdown on protesters then.
No, I'm sorry. Always the crackdown is one aspect of the episode. It is the issue which sparks the episode. So everything has to be taken note of. And ultimately what I'm saying, I'm not saying that Supreme Court could not have taken cognizance. But if the Supreme Court feels that this is not one of it, go to the High Court. I don't know why people are a constitutional court available in Delhi itself. Why don't you go to the High Court? Why everybody should rush to the Supreme Court only for propaganda and politics? And so politics should be kept out. What I'm finding is that in this whole protest, now there are less students and more political people getting involved into it. And the whole thing is being turned into an anti-BJP kind of a thing. Now that is destroying the whole objective of reforms, which should be put in the forefront. Rather than politicizing it, it should be reforms.
All right, sir. Thank you for taking the time out and joining us evening. Appreciate it, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, viewers, let's quickly dip into the latest news break that is coming in, and that comes in from the Vedanta Hospital in Gurgaon, because let's hark back. Sonam Wangchuk, who has been moved to the Vedanta Hospital from Safdarjung, had met JP Nadda and Jitendra Singh of the BJP, and today had said that he is willing to break his fast until and unless though one condition is fulfilled, and that condition was that all cases against the protesting students be dropped. For now, there is a delegation of opposition MPs and leaders that have sat on a dharna outside the Medanta Hospital because the opposition party members are not being allowed to meet Sonam Wangchuk. Now, there is the Aam Aadmi Party there, there's Samajwadi Party there, and all of the MPs from these parties had gone to meet Sonam Wangchuk, who has said that he will give up his fast if this one precondition is fulfilled, that all cases be dropped. Taking our viewers to the latest news break, Sonam Wangchuk's wife, Gitanjali Angmo, has met opposition delegation outside the hospital. Sanjay Singh from the Aam Aadmi Party spoke to the press.
हम चिट्ठी लेके आए हैं कि आप अपना अनशन तोड़ दीजिए। ये लोग क्या मारना चाहते हैं सोनम वांगचुक जी को?
साजिश कर रहे हैं।
ये सोनम वांगचुक जी को मारना चाहते हैं क्या? इस पत्र में लिखा हुआ है कि आप अपना अनशन तोड़ दीजिए। आपके स्वास्थ्य की दृष्टि से, आपके जीवन को के महत्व की दृष्टि से अब आप अपना अनशन कंटिन्यू न कीजिए। और ये उनकी रिक्वेस्ट, उनकी तरफ से ये कहा गया था कि अगर देश के सांसद हमें भरोसा दिलाएंगे तो हम अपना अनशन तोड़ सकते हैं। आप देखिए, यहाँ ये चिट्ठी देने की इजाजत नहीं, मिलने की इजाजत नहीं, इस प्रकार की तानाशाही है।
I want to quickly cut across to my colleague Aishwarya, who's joining us. Aishwarya, Sonam Wangchuk, after meeting JP Nadda and Jitendra Singh, has given one prerequisite request and a condition to break his fast, and that is all charges be dropped against the protesting students who were detained, and there were police cases against them. It's a climb down by Sonam Wangchuk. Is the government also going to climb down?
Yes, Preeti, from what I'm understanding at the moment, there was a lot of talk that in fact happened between Sonam Wangchuk, JP Nadda and Jitendra Singh. And in that talk, one of the things that the Bharatiya Janata Party very clearly told Sonam Wangchuk is that they want him to move out and they want him to be healthy. They want him to live. And they also said that you just need to tell us what exactly you want. And now we are seeing this letter which has come out, Preeti, from what I'm understanding. We will see most of those cases being taken back by the police. This is the kind of assurance that the Bharatiya Janata Party will be giving Sonam Wangchuk, and in the next 24 hours, you would see the Bharatiya Janata Party also trying to meet him once again, giving him and tell him what exactly the Bharatiya Janata Party has done. From what I'm understanding, in the next 24 hours, we will see a climb down of sorts happening from the Bharatiya Janata Party side as well, Preeti.
All right, so the climb down, viewers, to elucidate for your better understanding, Sonam Wangchuk earlier had stuck to one big condition, and that was the resignation of the Education Minister, Dharmendra Pradhan. Since then, he has given out multiple messages, some of them suggesting that he's willing to end his fast if parliamentarians meet, discuss the state of education in the country. Now, his latest precondition is not the resignation of the Education Minister, but all cases be dropped against the protesting students. And like my colleague Aishwarya is telling us, that the government could very well, in fact, incorporate and agree to this condition of Sonam Wangchuk. I want to bring in Maushmi, who's going to throw some light on the politics behind it. Maushmi, no Congress MPs in this delegation gone to meet Sonam Wangchuk. Samajwadi Party MPs, Aam Aadmi Party there. There is a sense from the opposition now to also own the fact, politically own the fact, that they too tried to assuage Sonam Wangchuk and convince him to end his fast.
That's right. And perhaps we've seen a different sort of groupism as far as within the opposition is concerned, Preeti. If you look at the from a bird's eye point of view, we saw this entire signature campaign happen in the parliament, and perhaps Sanjay Singh of the Aam Aadmi Party towing a different line as the Aam Aadmi Party's loggerheads with the Congress, even slamming the Congress yesterday for diluting the entire protest of the students and trying to hijack it. So that's the politics that is folding within the opposition. But at large, I must reiterate that largely the opposition has been on the same lines as far as their demands are concerned, which are the demands that the students are wanting. Now, this is a big climb down as far as the resignation of Dharmendra Pradhan is concerned, and not many hours from now, Rahul Gandhi has said that is a non-negotiable demand. Now, would the Congress go by what Sonam Wangchuk has said, or would the Congress tow a different line from the other opposition parties over the demand of Dharmendra Pradhan? Will be the bone of contention tomorrow. We'll see those differences also, pan out tomorrow, whether a discussion in the parliament is just enough, or whether and compensation and taking back the cases, or is it 0.0 focus on Dharmendra Pradhan's sacking?
Right. But, Maushmi, also, and I'm going to come right back to you in just about a minute, it's no longer really about Sonam Wangchuk in the opposition. There's a protest raging on. And these protesters, spearheaded by the Cockroach Janta Party, say that nothing doing. It has to be the resignation of the Education Minister. At least for now, they seem to be sticking to that demand. Stay with me, Maushmi. Let's listen in to Sonam Wangchuk's wife.
भारतीय नागरिक को जो यहाँ पर 25 दिनों से जिसने खाना नहीं खाया है, उसको पीस ऑफ माइंड और ये ना देते हुए उसको ऐसा स्ट्रेसफुल कंडीशन दिया जा रहा है। और स्पेशली जब सारे एमपीज ये लेटर लेके आ रहे हैं और आप देख रहे हैं कितने सारे इसमें साइंस हैं, ये सारे एमपीज के साइंस हैं जो सोनम को दरख्वास्त कर रहे हैं कि आप अपना फास्ट तोड़ो। तो गवर्नमेंट अगर मिलने नहीं दे रही है, वो क्या चाहती है कि सोनम फास्ट ना तोड़े। और सोनम ने ये आज ट्वीट किया है कि जब तक वो फास्ट एमपीज के कहने पर और उस एश्योरेंस के बाद ही अपना फास्ट तोड़ेंगे कि जो प्रोटेस्टर्स थे उन प्रोटेस्टर्स के ऊपर कोई भी गलत चीज नहीं की जाएगी, ना लीगली, ना फिजिकली, ना एफआईआर, ना कुछ भी। उनके ऊपर काफी एट्रोसिटीज हो चुकी हैं और उन्होंने फिर भी इतना रेजिलियंस दिखाया है कि उन्होंने रिएक्ट नहीं किया। और जो कह रहे हैं कि बच्चों ने स्टोन फेंके, ये उन्हीं के लोग थे जो इन्होंने अंदर डाले हुए थे, जो ये सब इंस्टिगेट करने की कोशिश कर रहे थे, लेकिन उनके कहने के बावजूद भी बच्चे इंस्टिगेट नहीं हुए।
All right, viewers. So is the government looking to offer an olive branch? Has the government climbed down from its stand of no negotiations? Because Sonam Wangchuk has climbed down. Here's more.
As protests against Education Minister Dharmendra Pradhan over NEET paper leaks rocked the national capital, the Narendra Modi government is reaching out to all the stakeholders. The government aims to hold a second round of talks with the Cockroach Janta party, but the protest leaders are demanding a neutral venue this time. Union Health Minister JP Nadda had met a CJP delegation on Monday. That round did not yield any outcome.
Is it possible to have a rational now dialogue between government and you all, or is there too much of mistrust on both sides?
No, absolutely not. We are open for dialogue and we are very rational people, and we had suggested Janta Mantar, but keeping in view the security situation, we have agreed to a neutral place.
Sources say senior ministers JP Nadda and Jitendra Singh also met educationist Sonam Wangchuk at the Medanta Hospital in Gurugram last night. The activist remains on a hunger strike, though the CJP leaders have urged him to end it. And now, Wangchuk has written to Nadda and Jitendra Singh, seeking an unequivocal assurance that none of the young protesters will face punitive or retaliatory legal action for participating in the movement. He has also sought an assurance against any further use of excessive police force. Wangchuk says he will end his fast if the government gives that assurance. Without it, he says he will continue his hunger strike indefinitely. The government also offered debate in parliament, but not under the rule demanded by the opposition, which is also insisting on the education minister's ouster.
सरकार नीट पेपर लीक का चर्चा के लिए पूरी तरह से तैयार है और हमने पहले दिन से कहा है जब चर्चा होती है तो किसी नियम के तहत होना पड़ता है और इसका व्यवस्था बनाना पड़ता है। सरकार पूरी तरह से नीट पेपर लीक पे चर्चा करने के तैयार है और इस देश के युवाओं को भविष्य के लिए हम सब मिलकर के एक सार्थक चर्चा हो, ये सरकार चाहती है।
विद्यार्थी की ओर से और नीट एग्जामिनेशन के बारे में और रूल्स 267 के तहत यहाँ पर बहस करना चाहते हैं, उसके लिए अगर फेयर डिस्कशन होना है तो शिक्षा मंत्री पहले राजीनामा देना चाहिए। धन्यवाद धन्यवाद। जब वो राजीनामा नहीं देंगे इस पर चर्चा यहाँ नहीं होगी।
On Tuesday, the government approached Rahul Gandhi too for a parliament debate before the leader of opposition was dragged away by Delhi police from outside the PM's residence. Rahul was detained briefly at the Chhatrasal Stadium before he was released.
मेरा मोदी जी से एक सजेशन है एज एलओपी, कल जो हुआ, जो आपकी सरकार ने, आपके होम मिनिस्टर ने किया, उसके लिए आप देश के स्टूडेंट से माफी मांगिए और जल्दी से जल्दी एग्जामिनेशन सिस्टम और एजुकेशन सिस्टम्स पर रिफॉर्म शुरू कीजिए।
3 engagements, 1 message. The government wants to contain the protest before it spreads further. The question being asked in political corridors tonight, is this a genuine olive branch or just crisis management? Bureau Report, India Today.
All right, viewers, the third day running complete washout where Parliament is concerned. Even the opposition has different demands of the government. While a protest rages on in Jantar Mantar with one unconditional demand, and that's the resignation of the education minister. The same demand now echoed by the Congress party. I want to bring in Moshmi. Moshmi, take us through on what's really going on in Parliament, because there is no other issue echoing on the streets and in the Sansad, if cliches can be quoted.
Oh, absolutely, Preeti. You know, we've seen several disruptions in the upper house and the lower house. We also saw meeting of ministers and ministers meeting the speaker. Akhilesh Yadav had a long discussion with the Lok Sabha speaker, and lots of protest erupting on at the Makar Dwar and in the floor of the house, with opposition sloganeering, and we saw opposition leaders marching in black attires as a sign of protest, and the dictatorship, alleging the dictatorship of the Modi government. So one will have to wait and see that whether there is any ice breaking as far as the parliament is concerned, because no business has been transacted for the past 3 days ever since the parliament really convened. And importantly, now the focus has come to the NEET paper leak, and also the alleged atrocities on students that happened, and the bait-and charging, with Rahul Gandhi saying that there should be action against the police personnel who indulged in such kind of acts. So whether there is a meltdown in terms of there is a demand for discussion under 267,
okay.
That is an adjournment notice that you in fact cancel all business of the house, or whether they stress on with the demand of resignation of Dharmendra Pradhan is a matter that will be sorted in the morning by the opposition leaders in the morning meeting.
All right, Maushmi, thank you for joining us. We're going to continue to come back to you with the latest updates. Here's word now coming in. Union Minister JP Nadda will be briefing the media at 8:30 p.m. So is the government also going to now suggest that all the cases against students will be dropped so Sonam Wangchuk can end his fast? So all eyes right now on JP Nadda speaking at 8:30 p.m. He will be speaking with the media, and in all probability will be concerning his meeting with Sonam Wangchuk. With that, viewers, I'm going to get into a quick break, but we're going to leave you with all that did not happen once again in Parliament on day 3. Thank you for joining us.
Day 3 of monsoon session. Parliament remained paralysed as the battle over the NEET paper leak refused to die down. Black was the colour of protest in Parliament on Wednesday. Congress MPs turned up dressed in black, accusing the government of silencing students and cracking down on demonstrations.
In large numbers, the opposition leaders are standing right at the Makar Dwar protesting and saying that they want the Education Minister Dharmendra Pradhan to step down, to resign. The top leaders of the opposition party, all of them wearing black, Priyanka Gandhi, Rahul Gandhi, Akhilesh Yadav, all of them wearing black clothes, and all of them standing now in solidarity. This is opposition unity that we can see. They are saying what they want at this moment is for their demands to be heard.
आपको क्या लगता है कि ये लोकतंत्र हमारा बच रहा है? क्या लगता है आपको? हमारे साथ जो हुआ वो इररिलेवेंट है. हम स्टूडेंट्स के साथ हैं और उनकी आवाज उठा रहे हैं. स्टूडेंट्स के साथ जो हुआ वो आप ही बताइए, सही है कि गलत है? बच्चे हैं सारे.
Inside the Lok Sabha, the confrontation escalated within minutes. The opposition demanded an immediate discussion on NEET and paper leaks. The Congress demanded Education Minister Dharmendra Pradhan's resignation first for any debate.
Sir, हमारा demand very clear है. Education Minister should be resigned. Then one more. If you accept adjournment motion पर चर्चा करो सर.
विद्यार्थी की ओर से और नीट एग्जामिनेशन के बारे में और रूल्स 267 के तहत यहाँ पर बहस करना चाहते हैं, उसके लिए अगर फेयर डिस्कशन होना है तो शिक्षा मंत्री पहले राजीनामा देना चाहिए. धन्यवाद. जब वो राजीनामा नहीं देंगे, निष्पक्षपात चर्चा यहाँ नहीं होगी. इसीलिए अगर निष्पक्षपात चर्चा होना तो मैं रिक्वेस्ट करता हूँ गवर्नमेंट को वो रिजिग्नेशन दिलाए.
The government hit back, saying that it was ready for a full debate and accused the opposition of choosing disruption over discussion.
सरकार नीट पेपर लीक का चर्चा के लिए पूरी तरह से तैयार है और हमने पहले दिन से कहा है जब चर्चा होती है तो किसी नियम के तहत होना पड़ता है और इसका व्यवस्था बनाना पड़ता है।
ये जो इंडिया अलायंस गठबंधन है इसका व्यवहार बहुत ही गैर जिम्मेदाराना व्यवहार है, गैर जिम्मेदाराना, और यह प्रजातांत्रिक विरोधी गतिविधि साफ साफ संसद में दिख रही है। संसद की मर्यादाओं को तार तार करके ये प्रजातांत्रिक मूल्यों का हनन कर रहे हैं।
Samajwadi Party chief Akhilesh Yadav insisted the issue was bigger than politics and demanded that Prime Minister Narendra Modi must address the parliament. He even questioned that why was Congress allowed to speak but not Samajwadi Party, accusing BJP and Congress of having an understanding.
युवा छात्र नौजवान हम सबके हैं, हम सब लड़ रहे हैं उनके लिए, हम सब लड़ रहे हैं उनके लिए। और जब छात्रों की नहीं सुनी जाएगी तो सड़कों पे आएंगे। और जो सरकार ने व्यवहार किया है, इस्तीफा तो क्या है, इस्तीफा तो जब चाहेंगे तब मंत्री ले लेंगे, सदन के बाद ले लेंगे। लेकिन सवाल ये जो छात्रों के साथ व्यवहार हुआ है, उनके हाथ तोड़े, सर तोड़ा, उनके कपड़े फाड़े, क्या बेटियों के कपड़े फाड़ेंगे आप?
But neither side blinked. With slogans drowning out proceedings yet again, the Speaker adjourned the House as the neat showdown continued to hold Parliament hostage. With Aishwarya Paliwal in Delhi, Bureau Report, India Today.
Doesn't come from a lab. Comes from my roots, from centuries of wisdom and from nature's lab. This is Hexa Organics, honest herbal heritage.
Look, this famous guy is giving me investment tips.
Sure, it's only for you.
Oh. Pay attention. From afar, it felt so true. A famous face giving advice with a smile. But looking closer, I saw I was being trapped by a fake videos live.
Well said, well said.
SEBI and NSE advise, in any video, focus on slow eyelashes and faulty lip sync. Believe and trust only on authorized sources. Wah!
सोच कर, समझ कर, इन्वेस्ट कर।
NSE द्वारा निवेशकों के हित में जारी।
We are over, Jimmy.
Hey, लाइफ में स्क्रैचेस तो आएंगे। गाड़ी के स्क्रैचेस को तो कॉस्मो पीपीएफ संभाल लेगा। आप अपना देख लो।
Doesn't come from a lab. Comes from my roots, from centuries of wisdom and from nature's lab. This is Hexa Organics, honest herbal heritage.
We are over, Jimmy.
Hey, लाइफ में स्क्रैचेस तो आएंगे। गाड़ी के स्क्रैचेस को तो कॉस्मो पीपीएफ संभाल लेगा। आप अपना देख लो।
doesn't come from a lab. It comes from my roots, from centuries of wisdom, and from nature's lab. This is Hexa Organics, honest herbal heritage.
We are over, Jimmy.
Hey, लाइफ में स्क्रैचेस तो आएंगे. गाड़ी के स्क्रैचेस को तो कॉस्मो पीपीएफ संभाल लेगा. आप अपना देख लो.
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Amplify your brand with 100 million smart internet viewers. To advertise, mail us at sales@aajtak.com. Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Amplify your brand with 100 million smart internet viewers. To advertise, mail us at sales@aajtak.com.
Comes from my roots, from centuries of wisdom, and from nature's lab. This is Hexa Organics, honest herbal heritage.
We are over, Jimmy.
Hey, लाइफ में स्क्रैचेस तो आएंगे. गाड़ी के स्क्रैचेस को तो कॉस्मो पीपीएफ संभाल लेगा. आप अपना देख लो.
Make your media plan smarter with India Today Live TV on your connected devices. Amplify your brand with 100 million smart internet viewers. To advertise, mail us at sales@aajtak.com.
It's 48 hours since the protests between the students, the youth and the police took place here in the heart of Delhi. We've come here to Jantar Mantar to sense the mood of the protesters 48 hours on. Are these protests spontaneous or have they taken a political turn? And what really do the protesters want? That's what we're going to find out. Join me, Rajdeep Sardesai, on this Ground Zero special from Jantar Mantar. Good evening, you're watching India First. I'm Gaurav Sawant. Big story coming in on the student protest, on the protests that are taking place at Jantar Mantar and the politics around it. High drama outside the prestigious Medanta Hospital in Gurugram, where the face of the protest, Sonam Wangchuk, is currently undergoing treatment. Now a delegation of opposition leaders, and this delegation includes leaders and members of parliament from the Aam Aadmi Party, the RJD, the Samajwadi Party and the JMM. They were trying to meet Sonam Wangchuk, but the police, as you see in those images on your television screen, they're blocking them from entering the hospital and meeting Sonam Wangchuk. So after permission was denied, The opposition leaders who were there, they decided to stage a sit-in protest at the hospital. Aam Aadmi Party MP Sanjay Singh, he was shouting at police officials, and this led to a heated confrontation. And a moment from now, you must hear what he's saying. You must listen to what the police are telling him. The police said the delegation does not have clearance from hospital authorities. Remember, Sonam Wangchuk is under the weather. He's undergoing treatment. No one can just walk into a hospital and meet him. And that's what the police were trying to tell the honorable members of parliament and other opposition leaders, that there is no clearance from hospital administration to meet a patient. They were not being permitted. Of course, Sonam Wangchuk's wife, she tried to take members of this delegation inside. Again, permission was not granted because that card was only for the relatives of the patient to be inside with the patient. But before I get you more on that story, just listen into what's happening at the hospital.
What happened? बताइए कहाँ जा रहे हैं आप? पूछने वाले कौन है? वही मिल रहे हैं। आप एक बार हमें हॉस्पिटल से करवा दीजिए। परमिशन चाहिए क्या? ऐसी बात कर रहे हो? पहले भी आए हुए हैं, पहले भी आए हुए हैं, वो भी अंदर उनको भी परमिशन नहीं मिली। देखिए अभी आपको परमिशन एक बार हॉस्पिटल का है भाई,
हम चिट्ठी लेके आए हैं कि आप अपना अनशन तोड़ दीजिए। ये लोग क्या मारना चाहते हैं सोनम वांगचुक जी को?
साजिश कर रहे हैं।
ये सोनम वांगचुक जी को मारना चाहते हैं क्या? इस पत्र में लिखा हुआ है कि आप अपना अनशन तोड़ दीजिए। आपके स्वास्थ्य की दृष्टि से, आपके जीवन के महत्व की दृष्टि से अब आप अपना अनशन कंटिन्यू न कीजिए। और ये उनकी रिक्वेस्ट, उनकी तरफ से ये कहा गया था कि अगर देश के सांसद हमें भरोसा दिलाएंगे तो हम अपना अनशन तोड़ सकते हैं। आप देखिए, यहाँ ये चिट्ठी देने की इजाजत नहीं, मिलने की इजाजत नहीं, इस प्रकार की तानाशाही है।
भारतीय नागरिक को जो यहाँ पर 25 दिनों से जिसने खाना नहीं खाया है, उसको पीस ऑफ माइंड और ये ना देते हुए उसको ऐसा स्ट्रेसफुल कंडीशन दिया जा रहा है। और स्पेशली जब सारे एमपीज ये लेटर लेके आ रहे हैं और आप देख रहे हैं कितने सारे इसमें साइंस हैं, ये सारे एमपीज के साइंस हैं जो सोनम को दरख्वास्त कर रहे हैं कि आप अपना फास्ट तोड़ो। तो गवर्नमेंट अगर मिलने नहीं दे रही है, वो क्या चाहती है कि सोनम फास्ट ना तोड़े। और सोनम ने ये आज ट्वीट किया है कि जब तक वो फास्ट एमपीज के कहने पर और उस एश्योरेंस के बाद ही अपना फास्ट तोड़ेंगे कि जो प्रोटेस्टर्स थे उन प्रोटेस्टर्स के ऊपर कोई भी गलत चीज नहीं की जाएगी, ना लीगली, ना फिजिकली, ना एफआईआर, ना कुछ भी। उनके ऊपर काफी एट्रोसिटीज हो चुकी हैं और उन्होंने फिर भी इतना रेजिलियंस दिखाया है कि उन्होंने रिएक्ट नहीं किया। और जो कह रहे हैं कि बच्चों ने स्टोन फेंके, ये फेंके, ये उन्हीं के लोग थे जो इन्होंने अंदर डाले हुए थे, जो ये सब इंस्टिगेट करने की कोशिश कर रहे थे, लेकिन उनके कहने के बावजूद भी बच्चे इंस्टिगेट नहीं हुए।
Now Sonam Wangchuk has written a letter to Union Ministers JP Nadda and Dr. Jitendra Singh a day after they met him at the hospital. In his letter, Sonam Wangchuk urged the centre not to take any legal, penal, punitive action against the protesters. He insists that the Sansad March protest from the side of the protesters was absolutely peaceful and that it was the police that resorted to the use of force. Sonam Wangchuk also made his position very clear on the hunger strike. Sonam Wangchuk said he's prepared to end this indefinite fast if members of parliament urged him to do so, point one. And point two, if government provides concrete assurances that the concerns raised by the protesters, by the students, were addressed. He, however, warned that if there wasn't a concrete assurance given to him, his fast will continue. In fact, in about 25 minutes from now, at 8:30, Union Health Minister JP Nadda, he will be addressing a press conference. Various points that were raised by Leader of Opposition in Lok Sabha, Rahul Gandhi, in his press conference earlier this afternoon, around 4:30 this afternoon. Rahul Gandhi raised certain points, 3 specific demands, and I'll tell you in detail about those specific demands. Perhaps we'll hear the Union Health Minister respond to the points raised by Rahul Gandhi, because he doubled down on the Congress's attack against the Narendra Modi government. At this press conference, Rahul Gandhi put forward 3 demands to the centre. Demand number 1, Union Education Minister Dharmendra Pradhan must step down. In fact, this has been raised both by Leader of Opposition in Lok Sabha and Leader of Opposition in Rajya Sabha. They said there can be a debate once there is an assurance that Dharmendra Pradhan will step down. Demand number 2, action should be taken against those who targeted students and protesters, which means action must be taken against police personnel. Demand number 3, an apology for not acknowledging the hardships that students were facing. So a day after leading a protest march close to Prime Minister Narendra Modi's 7 Lok Kalyan Marg residents, for which they were subsequently detained, Rahul Gandhi and Congress MPs, they carried on with their protests in Parliament. Watch those images. Most of them were dressed in black. Congress leaders and of course Samajwadi Party leaders joined in. Opposition MPs and especially Congress MPs said that they were observing a black day today, accusing the Modi government of refusing to fix accountability over repeated paper leaks and alleged police atrocities against protesters. But there's another question that's being raised. Is the opposition united in taking on the government? Yesterday it was the Aam Aadmi Party that accused the Congress of trying to steal CJP's thunder, or the Cockroach Janta Party's thunder, to take away the credit, because it's the CJP that's been carrying out the protests and fight against the government. The Congress is now being accused of jumping into this at the 11th hour and then trying to steal that thunder. Today the Samajwadi Party chief, Akhilesh Yadav, otherwise very close to the Congress party, Akhilesh Yadav lashed out in Parliament asking if there was some kind of a deal between the BJP and the Congress, that Samajwadi Party was not being given an opportunity to speak. The government, however, hit back, blaming the opposition for the current situation. The centre says despite repeated offers for a full-fledged discussion on the paper leak, on related issues in Parliament, Congress and Rahul Gandhi, they continue to shift the goalposts. The government claims the Congress initially agreed to a discussion, but later shifted the goalpost, insisting first Dharmendra Pradhan as Education Minister must resign. So we'll get you that story. 8:30, we'll also get you the press conference of JP Nadda, but we have another story that's coming up. What's that image on your television screen? That's an Assistant Commissioner of Delhi Police, an ACP of Delhi Police. He was injured in stone pelting by protesters. That wound that you see on his head, he was taken to hospital. He's spoken to India Today. He's described the situation on ground. So at his press conference, Rahul Gandhi showed some images, some videos of protesting students being targeted, protesters being targeted. On this special broadcast, we get you the other side of the story too. We get you all sides of the story. Watch these images carefully. Pictures of stone pelters targeting the police and a mob caught on camera singling out law enforcers and targeting them. Because here on India First, we get you a 360-degree perspective. We get you all sides of the story for you to form that big picture without fear or favor. But first, let me get you the top developments of the day.
It began as a movement over the NEET paper leak. A hunger strike by Sonam Wangchuk. Protest led by Cockroach Janta Party. But now the politics has taken over. Delhi has become a battleground, and at the center of the confrontation are no longer the students. Parliament has become paralyzed. The political battle has spilled onto the streets. Treasury and opposition benches are locked in a complete deadlock. And the Modi government is attempting to end the impasse, reiterating that it is ready for a full-fledged discussion on the NEET paper leak issue in Parliament.
सरकार नीट पेपर लीक का चर्चा के लिए पूरी तरह से तैयार है। और हमने पहले दिन से कहा है, जब चर्चा होती है तो किसी नियम के तहत होना पड़ता है और इसका व्यवस्था बनाना पड़ता है।
The centre is accusing the Congress and Rahul Gandhi of speaking in two voices, agreeing to a discussion initially, only to later shift the focus to demands for resignation.
और आपसे बातचीत की गई, मंत्री जितेंद्र सिंह गए थे, गृह सचिव गए थे, वो गए ठीक है, नीट पर बहस हो तो हम तैयार हैं। और फिर आप मुकर गए कि मेरी मर्जी। ये क्या देश आप ही के कारण चलेगा? आप ही की उद्दंडता से चलेगा? Rahul Gandhi, you have been irresponsible. I condemn your entire conduct yesterday.
The government's appeal to the opposition is simple. Raise your concerns, but do so on the floor of the House.
सरकार ने हर मुद्दे पर सार्थक बहस करने की भी बात की है, मगर विपक्ष संसद में नहीं बल्कि सड़क पर मुद्दों का समाधान करने का, मैं मानता हूं, अनुचित प्रयास कर रहा है। और लोकतंत्र के मुद्दों पर चर्चा करने की जगह संसद भवन है, जहां विपक्ष अपनी बात कहने के लिए पूरी तरह से स्वतंत्र है।
The centre has also stepped up its outreach to the Cockroach Janta party and Sonam Wangchuk. Sources say senior ministers JP Nadda and Jitendra Singh met Wangchuk at Medanta Hospital in Gurugram on Tuesday night. The meeting came on the heels of the Union Minister JP Nadda holding talks with the CJP spokesperson, who submitted a series of demands to the government. But Rahul Gandhi and the Congress remained firm on one key demand: Education Minister Dharmendra Pradhan's resignation.
Mr. Dharmendra Pradhan, who has failed as an education minister, should be relieved of his duties. So we fully support these demands and we fully support every single student.
आपको क्या लगता है कि ये लोकतंत्र हमारा बच रहा है? क्या लगता है आपको? हमारे साथ जो हुआ वो इररिलेवेंट है। हम स्टूडेंट्स के साथ हैं और उनकी आवाज उठा रहे हैं।
The paper leak may have sparked the protest, but politics has now eclipsed the issue itself. And by offering an olive branch in the form of a full-fledged discussion in Parliament, the government has put the onus on the opposition. The question is, will Congress and the opposition actually put the future of students first, or will it be politics as usual for them? Bureau Report, India Today.
Students first or politics first? You heard leader of opposition say 152 paper leaks in 10 years. Rahul Gandhi insists Dharmendra Pradhan, the education minister, must quit. In fact, there have been protests not just in Delhi, but I want to get you images. There have been protests from Bihar to Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh to Chhattisgarh. And what should one make of the Aam Aadmi Party versus Congress and Samajwadi Party versus Congress tussle? Is this now a war for credit? Joining me on India First, Sanju Verma, National Spokesperson of the BJP, Pankhuri Pathak, National Spokesperson of the Congress Party, Rashid Kidwai, a political analyst and author, as is Rajat Sethi. Welcome. Sanju Verma, Rahul Gandhi today claimed 152 paper leaks in 10 years, 7.5 crore students and families impacted, zero convictions. Rahul Gandhi says he agrees with protesters Dharmendra Pradhan must quit. Will the government consider this? What's the thinking within your party, ma'am?
You know, Gaurav, first and foremost, let me, through your show, make this very clear that the Modi government stands unconditionally and unequivocally, shoulder to shoulder, with the youth and the student community of this country. That said, I will not mince my words. While the protests may have started on a bona fide note, let's get one thing very clear. It was infiltrated by professional Andolan GVs. And let me say one thing more. In which peaceful protest do you see lumpen elements saying, Modi ko goli maar do, Modi mar gaya, hai hai, 370 वापस लाओ, CAA वापस लाओ, संविधान को आग लगा देंगे, संसद भवन को आग लगा देंगे, मेरा लिंग मेरी मर्जी, मेरा जेंडर मेरी मर्जी, उमर खालिद जिंदाबाद, शर्जील इमाम जिंदाबाद. Anyone who's been looking at social media in the last 1 week will find out how what was supposed to be a peaceful protest became a completely agenda peddling driven andolan by professional protesters whose only common binding glue is one thing: their visceral hatred for Narendra Modi. And let me make one thing clear. 152 paper leaks, says the opposition, between 2014 and 2026. I can throw another number at you and you can have this checked by your team. 169 big and small paper leaks from 2004 to 2014, before the Modi government came to the helm of affairs. I come from Maharashtra. In 2012, when Prithviraj Chavan was the chief minister of Maharashtra, there were 39 paper leaks. राहुल गांधी के मुंह में तब दही जम गया था, गौरव. As early as 2022, Ashok Gehlot was the chief minister. His own son, Vaibhav Gehlot, was involved in the Rajasthan recruitment board scam. Rahul Gandhi
Either ways, it's us, the people who suffer, ma'am. I completely agree with you. Paper leaks is a huge challenge, but the fact remains, whether it happened under the Congress government or under the BJP government, it is we who are suffering. And what is being done to address it effectively? You know, you blame the professional Andolankaris and Andolanjeevis, fair enough. But what about the students who are seeking justice, ma'am? And I'll come back to you to respond to that point, because that's the core issue. Pankhuri Pathak, is the debate on the floor of the House more important, so that there is a solution, that the best heads, I mean, after all, we've elected these 543 lawmakers and send them to Lok Sabha, discuss this, find a solution? Is that more important, or sticking to the resignation of the education minister? Government says they're willing to discuss everything. Opposition is shying away by changing the goalpost, ma'am.
First of all, Gaurav, because I just heard the BJP spokesperson, I would like to say that the BJP script of anybody raising questions from the government, becoming anti-national and Andolan-Jeevi and whatnot, I think people have seen through it, especially the youth of the country. They don't buy any of that anymore. But coming back to your question, since the last 3 days, we have been demanding a discussion in the parliament. We have been giving notices for adjournment motion. The government has not clarified what kind of discussion they are willing to have in the parliament. Secondly, when I saw on your content, everyone's been saying that the demand for the resignation of the Prime Minister has come from Rahul Gandhi ji or from the Congress party. Let me make it very clear. Today, thousands and lakhs of youngsters have come out on the streets with the very same demand. This is how this protest actually started, and I think it's a very justified demand. A person, an education minister who's not only incompetitive, but who's also very insensitive. He has failed to apologize for the death of 25 children who lost their lives due to the leak in the NEET exam. I think that person does not deserve to stay in his position. The people of India, the youth of India, the students of India have lost trust on the education minister. I mean, there is no question, he must go. So this is not a demand of the Congress party. This is a demand of the students of India, and we are just echoing that.
So you're saying he must go before the debate. Okay, Sanju Verma wants to quickly respond. 30 seconds, ma'am, before I bring in Rajat Sethi and Rashid Kidwai. Quickly, 30 seconds, Sanju Verma.
You know, this is a highly unpopular opinion, but under Article 75 of the Indian Constitution, the Prime Minister is mandated to decide who he will induct into his cabinet, who he will expel from his cabinet, who he will dismiss from his cabinet. That is a prerogative that the Prime Minister enjoys. Gaurav Sawant, Sanju Verma, Pankhuri Pathak, Rashid Kidwai will not decide that. Point number 2, I want to again reinforce, Gaurav, very categorically. We stand with students, but 99.5% of the people at the CJP protest are propagandists. They are agenda peddlers. Tell me honestly, which sane-minded student attacks the police force, attacks the rapid action force, smashes barricades, pepper sprays the police constabulary, and then these people have the audacity to lecture the Modi government on political morality? My final point. I was listening to Abhijit Dipke. Thank God this person's, charade has been exposed. What did he say 24 hours back? ये मोदी की क्या मजबूरी है जो धर्मेंद्र प्रधान को निकाल नहीं रहा? तेरा क्या रिश्ता है मोदी प्रधान के साथ? They have come down to the level of tu tadak. Prime Minister Modi is not just the duly elected Prime Minister, he is old enough to be Abhijit Dipke's father. This is the kind of language that is being rationalized, normalized by the Darbari, Rahul Gandhi-led ecosystem, and then they talk about political morality. You guys have some audacity. People can
Let
see
me bring in Rajat Sethi. Let me bring in
Can I
Rajat
just
Sethi.
answer that?
Okay, quickly, Pankuri Bhatta, quickly, ma'am, so that I can bring in other guests also.
When Sanju Verma said that this is the prerogative of the Prime Minister to decide who will stay in his cabinet or not, I think that just goes on to show the arrogance of the BJP government, that they have forgotten that the Prime Minister's power also comes from we the people, from the people of India who have given him that power. So when the people have lost trust in a certain minister, in this government, you cannot just suppress their voice. You have to listen to their sentiments. And it doesn't matter that you are showing the thumbs down to the youth and students of this country. The youth and students are showing the thumbs down to you. Look at that they are showing right to your face. The students of the country have shown that you don't have their trust anymore. And no matter, you can give them lathis, you can give them guddies, or you can give them thumbs down. But the students of the country are
Give me a moment. Give me a moment.
hold you accountable. You cannot keep running.
Sure. Give me a moment. Let me bring in Rajat Sethi and Rashid into this conversation. Rajat Sethi, Kiran Rijiju, Parliamentary Affairs Minister, says the government is 100% ready for a discussion. Health Minister JP Nadda said words to the effect in Rajya Sabha too. Is the government being difficult, unwilling to consider the opposition's demand for Dharmendra Pradhan's resignation before the debate? Or is there merit in the government saying debate first, then we'll see?
So there are two principal actors, Gaurav. First is the student protesters and everybody who is sitting in on the protest. I would still not distinguish and attack the messenger there. But let's assume that if the students who are sitting were to find a middle ground with the government, those negotiations are going on. Several rounds of discussions have been proposed. There are back channel discussions also happening. And I believe Sonam Wangchuk has himself released a letter where he has said that the government should consider the resignation of Dharmendra Pradhan. So this softening of the tone, if it happens from the student protester side and also from the government side, so that greater accountability is fixed, I believe that's how the culmination should happen. But the real problem are these political vultures who are smelling political meat here. This is the real problem. They have shifted the goalpost consistently since Monday when the parliament started. The question hour itself, both Rahul Gandhi and Akhilesh Yadav ji, they got opportunity in the 0 hour itself to ask the question and hold the government accountable. They also proposed that the discussion should happen there. But on Monday and later on Tuesday, they realized that this is fast snowballing and let's just milk maximum political capital out of it. Right, so they are now gradually shifting the goalpost, saying that we won't even join the parliament discussion till Dharmendra Pradhan does not resign. I mean, how can these people become the principal arbiter on what should be the middle ground between the students and the government? That is the real problem.
Very strong words you've used, that these are political vultures who've smelt blood, or words to that effect. Rashid Kidwai, would you agree with this characterization of the opposition? And should there be a debate first, or should there be resignation first? Because both treasury benches and opposition, it appears, are more interested in point scoring rather than discussing this very burning issue of NEET paper leak and that mafia, that paper leak mafia in our country.
Gaurav, if what Rajat Sethi is saying about being political vulture and political meat, then I think all political parties are guilty of that. You covered the UPA years. What happened to A. Raja? What happened to Pawan Bansal? What happened to Shivraj Patil? What happened to Vilas Rao Deshmukh? A series of resignations were taken, and the demand for resignation came from opposition, and rightly so.
Sir, give me 30 seconds. There's breaking news coming in from Medanta Hospital in Gurugram. Hours after he wrote that letter to Union Ministers JP Nadda and Dr. Jitendra Singh, Sonam Wangchuk has now issued a video message. And Sonam Wangchuk, in this video message, India Today has accessed that message. He says he will end his fast if legal action, if the government assures him that there will be no FIRs, no legal action against students who are protesting. Sonam Wangchuk, in fact, has then said that if the government does not agree to this, does not agree with his demands, then his indefinite fast will continue. I'll get you more on this, but just first listen in to Sonam Wangchuk.
मैं सरकार से विनती करता हूं कि वो और ऐसे ताकत बल का प्रयोग न करें बच्चों पर, और दूसरी बात, उन पर आरोप और FIR जिससे कि उन्हें सताया जा सके जेल या पुलिस द्वारा, ये न करने की मुझे आश्वासन चाहिए। और वो आश्वासन अगर जल्द मिल जाए तो मैं आप सबके और जो नेतागण यहाँ पर आए उनकी बातों का इज्जत करते हुए अनशन आज ही तोड़ूंगा। मगर अगर ऐसा कोई आश्वासन नहीं आए तो बदकिस्मती से मुझे ये अनशन जारी रखना पड़ेगा। जय हिंद। मैं
Big statement from Sonam Wangchuk. He says if the government can give him an assurance that there will be no FIR, no legal action, no penal action against the protesters, then he is willing to end his fast tonight itself, today itself. Let me quickly bring in my colleague Maria Shakil for more on this. Maria, Health Minister JP Nadda is likely to address a press conference in about 10 minutes from now. Do we see that assurance from the government that if there is an assurance, he will end his fast, and if that fast ends tonight, then perhaps there could be a solution, Maria?
Yes, look, Gaurav, the fact that Sonam Wangchuk has released this video just minutes ahead of JP Nadda's press conference, it certainly is an indication that in the press conference which will be addressed by the union minister who has been engaging with him, there will be some kind of assurance which will be coming in. Look, the government has been saying that they are open to talks. They have been saying that they are standing with the youth and the protesting students. The concerns of the students will be addressed. The point that has been made by Sonam Wangchuk here becomes important. He is saying that the assurance has to come from the government that there will be no punitive action against protesting students, that all their demands have to be looked in the due course, but as far as any action against the students are concerned, that should not happen, because what was carried out on 20th was largely a peaceful protest. So I see this as clearly an indication that at 8:30 when JP Nadda, who was the minister who engaged him, and the letter that was written by Sonam Wangchuk was addressed to Mr. Nadda and to Union Minister Jitendra Singh, saying that his demands are very clear and in public domain. No mention whatsoever of the resignation demand of Dharmendra Pradhan. So clear indication that Sonam Wangchuk's fast could end perhaps in the next couple of hours.
Okay. In fact, is that the middle ground that has been found? Maria, keep tracking that story. I will come back to you for more. And that's the frame that you see on your television screen. In just about 6 minutes from now, 5 minutes from now, you will perhaps see Union Health Minister JP Nadda address the media. One, on what Rahul Gandhi said around 4:30 this afternoon, and two, on what Sonam Wangchuk has just said. If the government assures that there will be no legal or penal action against students, against the protesters, he will call off his fast tonight, his indefinite fast. He'll call it off tonight. Sanju Verma, Sonam Wangchuk's letter and this discussion, that this statement that he's just made, that is, if there is an assurance, he'll call off his fast. Is that the middle ground? Is such an assurance likely?
Cliched as it may sound, Gaurav, ताली हमेशा दो हाथ से बजती है. If Sonam Wangchuk has decided to take 2 steps forward in order to hatch out a compromise, for want of a better word, then I'm sure, the Modi government will do what needs to be done to ensure that the current stalemate is, brought to a logical conclusion. But at the same time, I want to make one thing very clear. If you notice the statement put out by Sonam Wangchuk before he put out this video, and I don't want to second guess JP Nadda ji, but the fact of the matter is Sonam Wangchuk says protesters and students who were detained by the police, punitive and retaliatory action should not be taken against them. He has not used the word hooligans. I ask through your channel, the people at CJP and Sonam Wangchuk included, people who abused the Prime Minister, people who smashed barricades, people who attacked the Delhi Police Constabulary, people who attacked the Rapid Action Force, were they bona fide protesters? No. Were they bona fide students? No. So will students get a reprieve? Most likely, yes. Will bona fide protesters get a reprieve? Yes. But will professional Andolan GVs with a track record of vandalizing public property get a reprieve? The answer is a big no. And my final point is this, Gaurav.
Oh, there's a distinction you're making there. There's a distinction,
Yes,
but is that a government distinction or is that your assessment? That professional Andolan GVs, as you call them, no reprieve for them.
Gaurav, tell me honestly, I'm currently giving a personal assessment because I said I don't want to second guess JP Nadda ji. Tell me, somebody saying, Modi, tujhko goli maar denge. Modi mar gaya, hi.
Okay, give me a moment. Let me bring in Pankhuri Pathak to get a quick reaction since we have just a couple of minutes to go. Pankhuri Pathak, you heard Sonam Wangchuk. If he is willing to end his fast, if there is no action taken, will the Congress still insist on Dharmendra Pradhan's resignation, or is that the middle ground? Have a debate and then move forward with it.
Well, we are all concerned about Mr. Sonam Wangchuk's health, and nobody wants him to go on an indefinite fast. But having said that, as I said earlier, the demand for the resignation of the education minister comes from the students. I'm sure you must have had reporters on the ground and who would have spoken to students who are present, not only in Delhi, but in protest all across the country. Today, there was a massive protest in Patna and where water cannons were used and tear gas shells were used. This is a demand that has been echoing throughout the country. Every single student and young person today is asking for the resignation of the education minister, which I think is completely justified. And this will go on to show that the government is actually serious, that it wants to fix accountability, because where does the accountability lie? This is an education minister.
Let me bring in Rajat Sethi to quickly respond to this. I have Dr. Vikram Singh also joining me on this broadcast. Rajat Sethi, will resignation of the opposition continues to demand that Dharmendra Pradhan resigns. Now, will that bring accountability, or will the debate suggest a road ahead?
No, there are parliamentary processes to ensure that there is sustained accountability, and that fight should be well within, the rules of conduct of the parliament. Opposition parties have access to it. The students don't. This is why the students were on the street. And if students are able to reach to a consensus with the government, that is something that the opposition should respect, allow the parliament to function, table it properly, all their concerns through political channels that they want to position and have a party's position in the parliament. By all means, they should do that. But they should not try and break the rules and have it's my way or the highway, especially when Sonam Wangchuk, who's been the principal figure of this protest, if he's trying to find a middle ground so that the students can actually move on. Students have a career to build. For politicians, the career is in the parliament only. What is their career? Their career and their career goals and ambitions are to come again in power. So they are living to their careers, goals and ambitions. Why should the students not be allowed to go back to the classrooms, to their jobs or whatever they want to do? And I think this is an opportune time.
India, that is something that Dharmendra Pradhan and the Narendra Modi government have to really ensure now, the number of paper leaks that have taken place. But before I bring in Dr. Vikram Singh, I once again want Dr. Vikram Singh, please listen in to Sonam Wangchuk. Listen in to Sonam Wangchuk, and then we will discuss, is this the middle ground? Listen in to Sonam Wangchuk.
सरकार से विनती करता हूँ कि वो और ऐसे ताकत बल का प्रयोग न करें बच्चों पर, और दूसरी बात, उन पर आरोप और एफआईआर जिससे कि उन्हें सताया जा सके जेल या पुलिस द्वारा, ये न करने की मुझे आश्वासन चाहिए। और वो आश्वासन अगर जल्द मिल जाए तो मैं आप सबके और जो नेतागण यहाँ पर आए उनकी बातों का इज्जत करते हुए अनशन आज ही तोड़ूंगा। मगर अगर ऐसा कोई आश्वासन नहीं आए तो बदकिस्मती से मुझे ये अनशन जारी रखना पड़ेगा। जय हिंद।
अगर आज ही मुझे वो आश्वासन मिले, if I get that assurance today that there will be no legal or penal action against the protesting students, then I'm willing to end my indefinite fast tonight, says Sonam Wangchuk. Is that a road ahead? Is that the way ahead? Dr. Vikram Singh, is that possible? A number of policemen have also been injured. A large number of students have also been injured. Protesters have been injured. But is this a middle ground? No FIRs, no legal action, sir?
Good evening, Gaurav ji. I'm so happy that you have flagged the very pertinent point there. Sonam Wangchuk ji has said, मैं सरकार से विनती करता हूं कि बच्चों को प्रताड़ित न किया जाए। बच्चों को कोई प्रताड़ित नहीं करना चाहेगा, लेकिन जो आपराधिक तत्व है, and you very rightly mentioned, 120 police officers have sustained very grievous injuries, life-threatening injuries, and they are of the ranks of Special Police Commissioner, Joint Police Commissioner, ACPs and BCPs. PCRs have been vandalized. Do you mean to say that all those FIRs should be, the 10 that have been registered should also be expunged? Should they be kept in abeyance, or should they be kept in the defreeze till the time there is good conduct? Because there is so much of vacillation and ambivalence that, Gaurav ji, I would say that there has to be a mutual understanding with an element of finality. That then there is no going back. That I did commit myself, but then the core committee did not agree to it. The core committee did, but then the working committee did not agree to it. This kind of vacillation and going around and round in circles will not serve the purpose. There has to be one spokesperson, one agreement, and I see a light at the end of the tunnel today. This seems to be, I say, it seems to be very reassuring, but then the taste of the pudding lies in its eating. I do hope that let us work on it with an honest intention and see where it goes in the next 24 hours. If it does...
You know, just a short while back, during this discussion, the BJP spokesperson, Sanju Verma, she said, yes, perhaps no FIRs against students, no FIRs against protesting students and protesters. But, you know, the BJP is using a term, professional Andolan Jeevis. You know, those who protest on every issue. If stone pelters were there, then perhaps cases against them will still be done. Is that going to be a problem with Sonam Wangchuk or with the Cockroach Janta Party or others who are protesting there, sir, in your view?
Gaurav ji, you have hit the nail on the head when he said, Sonam Wangchuk ji said, bachcho ke, nobody would harm. Bachches are bachches, and we treat them treat them with like absolute royalty. But those who are Andolan Jeevis, who have vandalized, who have bashed up the police officers, and who have taken the law in their own hands, there should be consequences. Nobody would disagree to that, because they are not bachchas. They are, I would say, Andolan Jeevis, and the law must take its own course. Gaurav ji.
Stay with me for a moment, and I want all our guests to stay as we wait for the press conference of JP Nadda. I want to, for a moment, play out a conversation my colleague Arvind Ojha had with this Delhi Police ACP who was injured. So Delhi Police's Assistant Commissioner of Police, Jai Prakash, now he's from Punjabi Bagh area. He suffered a head injury, as you can see in that image. He was on active duty at Jantar Mantar. Apparently, it was a stone pelting incident. Now, my colleague Arvind Ojha spoke to ACP Jai Prakash to ask him what happened. Listen into an excerpt of that conversation. I'll get you more on that story.
मेरी ड्यूटी जंतर मंतर प्रोटेस्ट साइट पे ही थी जी, तो वहां से कुछ 500-700 प्रोटेस्टर्स का ग्रुप है पार्लियामेंट की तरफ चलने लग गया। तो फर्स्ट लाइन ऑफ बैरिकेड पे मैं खड़ा हुआ था अपने स्टाफ के साथ। तो कुछ शरारती तत्वों ने अंदर से पहले पानी की बोतलें फेंकना शुरू कर दिया और उसके बाद कुछ पथराव शुरू कर दिया। तो एक पत्थर मेरे को आके सीधा माथे में लगा है, ये हुआ था।
तो आप अभी वहीं पर हैं या अस्पताल गए? क्या स्थिति है? क्या किसी और को चोट आई? क्या स्थिति है?
नहीं, मेरे को लेके ये आरएमएल हॉस्पिटल में आ गए हैं, यहाँ पे ट्रीटमेंट चल रहा है अभी।
और बाकी वहाँ क्या सीन है? कितनी, मतलब जंतर मंतर जो प्रोटेस्ट साइट है वहां से बाहर निकल रहे थे पार्लियामेंट की साइड, मतलब किस साइड? क्या
जी जी, जो जंतर मंतर प्रोटेस्ट साइट है उसके जो बैरिकेड लास्ट लगा हुआ है टॉलस्टॉय मार्ग पे, उसके बाद हमने फर्स्ट लाइन ऑफ बैरिकेडिंग कर रखी है पार्लियामेंट स्ट्रीट के ऊपर। तो उसके ऊपर ही हम खड़े हुए थे ताकि उधर ना जा सके पार्लियामेंट की तरफ। तो
अचानक से ही बिना किसी प्रोवोकेशन के भीड़ के अंदर से शरारती तत्वों ने पथराव शुरू कर दिया, जो एक पत्थर आगे माथे में लगा है।
We'll show you all sides of the story. I want you to see some more images. The Delhi police are now scanning these images. They've released exclusive CCTV images, both July 20 and July 21. Delhi police says, watch these images, see who are these protesters, all a part of CJP-led protests, and how there was chaos, violence and vandalism. Police vehicles were targeted. One set of visuals actually shows protesters, they target security forces personnel. Another visual shows rapid action force personnel in the line of fire. Yet another image, look at this image. Now, is this allowed? Is this okay? Is this acceptable in the name of any protest that you single out a policeman and then beat him up, punch him, hit him? Policemen targeting students, not okay. But protesters targeting policemen, is that okay? Look at how a police officer was ghiraud and then assaulted. And in just a moment, we'll break down multiple videos frame by frame. And this is why the Delhi police says they were videographing this very extensively. The entire CCTV footage lays bare that very violent turn these protests took. And they claim, police insist, all of this was well planned, it was well orchestrated. The police in their report has said 199 police personnel required medical attention following the clashes. Amongst those who were injured include 10 senior officers, 8 IPS officers, 2 DANIPS officers. Forces also claim 15 to 20 government vehicles were damaged in this peaceful protest. Visual number 1. I want you to go full frame on those images. The first CCTV image is released by Delhi police. Watch these images very carefully. Protesters seen on a CCTV camera. Now, there are students, yes, but masked stone pelters. Notice what happens next. They pick up stones, they pick up other objects lying there and hurl them in the direction of the police across the barricade. There is no lathi charge. Lathi charge is not happening. The police are on the other side of the barricade, and this is where these protesters, they hurl projectiles at police vehicles that are parked there. They've covered their faces, apparently in an attempt to conceal their identity. The Delhi police say this evidence shows that a section of the protesters, they came prepared to target security forces personnel. I want to bring in Dr. Vikram Singh into this conversation for a moment. Dr. Vikram Singh, as you look at these images, planned a mob that joined these protesters to target security forces. Now, are these what the BJP describes as professional Andolanjeevis who came there with the intention to create trouble? And should FIR not be registered against them either?
That's a polite way of saying, Gauravji, that they were Andolanjeevis. I would say this is a premeditated, very well calibrated, planned writing that was put into action. And those behind it are professional writers. I think we are all aware of the names of those, Afzal and Azam from Selampur, who are accused under the Makoka, also had gone there with their goons and to target a single ACP who was just doing his duty, ACP Jayaprakash in question, and then to hit him with brickbats and also level false allegations thereafter that police fired through pellet guns. Pellet gun is not an official issue of the police, and it is actually a katta. Probably it would have happened that somebody could not handle the katta well and it went off its own and shy. Because a police gun would also penetrate the body. These are skin deep, only epidermis deep gunshot wounds, which will happen only from a katta that has gone awry and that must have missed its target. Therefore, to say it was the police who fired this katta or pellet gun, this is absolute nonsense. I've never heard anything, any preposterous as this, Gauravji. Therefore, I would say a very well calibrated, very well organized oil and grease machinery for this rioting. I would not say
So, Pankuri Pathak, should cases not be registered even in these cases where masked men are pelting stones at the police? Should no FIR be registered here either?
Gaurav, the Congress does not support violence of any kind from any side. and we have been consistently saying this. But I believe that these people who can be seen pelting stones, and we even saw pictures of police personnel pelting stones. So we have seen both the visuals. But I would still say that the protest, which has been largely peaceful for such a long time, I feel it's the BJP and government-sponsored people who went there and pelted stones just to give the protest a bad name, because we have seen thousands of visuals of how the students were actually folding their hands in front of police personnel. They were even giving flowers out, and they were requesting that, we are students, don't beat us. And we saw all kinds of atrocities. Even women protesters were groped. They were hit on their private parts. We all saw those videos. I don't know why they are not being played now. Maybe because you're just playing one, you want to show another side of the protest. But
we are showing all sides of the protest. We are showing all sides of the protest. Rahul Gandhi showed one side, but on India Today we are showing all sides, ma'am. We are showing all sides. So kindly be rest assured. But
I am sure if there is a neutral investigation, it would be found out that these are BJP and government-sponsored people.
Fair enough. You've raised a big allegation. Sanju Verma wants to respond. Sanju Verma, respond. The Congress party says these are BJP-sponsored pelters.
गौरव, हिंदी में कहावत है, हमको मालूम है जन्नत की हकीकत क्या है, लेकिन दिल को खुश करने के लिए गाली भी एक ख्याल अच्छा है. Do you think the Congress is not aware that its political credibility today is absolutely plumbing new depths? Rahul Gandhi about your own credibility today. I want to Prime Minister's resignation now.
Okay. Miss Pathak, when you were speaking, Sanju Verma didn't interrupt. Kindly extend the same courtesy, ma'am.
Yes. The problem with this cabal is, चुनाव हार चुके हैं. EVM को दोषी ठहराना, जुडिशरी को दोषी ठहराना, चीफ जस्टिस ऑफ इंडिया को मलाइन करना. This is what Rahul Gandhi has come down to, because his political credibility is ZERO. You used a word in the midst of your show, FOMO. Fear of missing out. Rahul Gandhi was on vacation for 22 days. He joins the CJP protest on the 24th day. अच्छी खासी वेकेशन मनाने के बाद राहुल गांधी मैदान में कूद जाते हैं और कहते हैं, I stand with the youth of India. Do you think the youth of India cannot see through Rahul Gandhi's charade? And I'll tell you what, Gaurav, Akhilesh Yadav blasting the Congress party on the floor of the parliament. और फिर ये कहते हैं, हम दोनों यूपी के भैया साथ साथ. Sanjay Singh blasting Rahul Gandhi. This is the state of India's opposition. And then they
I'll get Pankuri to respond to that. Pankuri, in case you think that these are BJP cadre supporters, workers, or supported elements, then I think there should be no problem if FIR is registered against these elements, those who are targeting the police. If the police registers an FIR against them, there should be no problem with that?
I mean, the police is going to do whatever, they are asked to do. But then why are we not talking about the students who were assaulted? What action would be taken against the people who assaulted the student protesters? And Gaurav, there were young children there. These were teenagers. These are not even, grown. These are not even adults. A 12-year girl.
Okay, give me a moment. I quickly want to cut across Union Health Minister JP Nadda. JP Nadda has arrived. We'll continue this debate, but listen in to Union Health Minister JP Nadda.
सोचा था, लेकिन वो लोड ले नहीं पाएगा, वो इशू है. तो अब देखते हैं ऐसा हो पाएगा. शुरू करें क्या? आप सभी मीडिया के साथियों का बहुत बहुत स्वागत है. आज इस महत्वपूर्ण प्रेस वार्ता में भारतीय जनता पार्टी के हमारे पूर्व अध्यक्ष, भारतीय जनता पार्टी के वरिष्ठ नेता, भारत सरकार में केंद्रीय मंत्री आदरणीय जेपी नड्डा जी आप लोगों को संबोधित करेंगे. मेरा आदरणीय नड्डा जी से आग्रह है कि अपना संबोधन प्रारंभ करें.
मित्रों, ये जो स्टूडेंट्स की डिमांड है, जिस विषय पर उन्होंने मुद्दे उठाए हैं पेपर लीक का, सबसे पहले तो मेरा आग्रह है कि हमें इसका राजनीतिकरण नहीं करना चाहिए और इसमें से राजनीतिक लाभ लेना उचित नहीं है। यह एक गहन समस्या है और इस समस्या का गहनता के साथ चर्चा होने की आवश्यकता रहती है। मैं यहाँ यह भी कहना चाहता हूँ कि आज शाम को 4 बजे भारत की संसद में विपक्ष के नेता श्रीमान राहुल गांधी जी ने एक प्रस्तुतिकरण दिया और उस प्रस्तुतिकरण में उन्होंने लगभग 150 पेपर लीक के बारे में उन्होंने चर्चा की। ये जांच का विषय है और सरकार एक जिम्मेवार सरकार है, इसलिए निश्चित रूप से हर एक बात का जवाब जांच के साथ साथ जनता के सामने, देश के सामने दूध का दूध और पानी का पानी रखेगी। लेकिन मैं ये ज़रूर कहना चाहता हूँ कि जो सरसरी तौर पर मुझे ध्यान में आया है, जो मैंने पेन डाउन किया है, वो आपके साथ मैं ज़रूर चर्चा करूँगा। अगर मैं बात करूँ जम्मू कश्मीर में सर्विस सिलेक्शन बोर्ड के एग्जामिनेशन में पेपर लीक हुआ, जहाँ पर कांग्रेस और एनसी की सरकार है, नेशनल कॉन्फ्रेंस की। उसी तरीके से हिमाचल प्रदेश स्कूल एग्जामिनेशन बोर्ड में उसमें पेपर लीक हुआ, जहां कांग्रेस की सरकार है। उसी तरीके से झारखंड में JAC में हिंदी और साइंस के पेपर लीक हुए झारखंड, जहां पर कांग्रेस और झारखंड मुक्ति मोर्चा की सरकार है। तेलंगाना में वहां पर इंटरमीडिएट के लैंग्वेज के पेपर लीक हुआ और वहां पर भी हमको मालूम है कि कांग्रेस और CPI की सपोर्टेड सरकार है। तेलंगाना में SSC में लैंग्वेज के पेपर लीक हुआ और वहां भी तेलंगाना में कांग्रेस पार्टी और CPI की सपोर्टेड सरकार है। तमिलनाडु में BEd के कोर्स पेपर में वहां पर जो जिसे हम कहते हैं तमिलनाडु टीचर्स एजुकेशन यूनिवर्सिटी बोर्ड, वहां भी पेपर लीक हुआ, वहां भी उस समय विपक्ष की सरकार थी। वेस्ट बंगाल में पुलिस कांस्टेबल का रिक्रूटमेंट एग्जाम पेपर लीक हुआ, वहां उस समय TMC की सरकार थी। पंजाब में पंजाब सबऑर्डिनेट सर्विस सिलेक्शन बोर्ड, इसमें ग्रुप B के एग्जामिनेशन में इसमें भी पेपर लीक हुआ और मैल प्रैक्टिसेस भी हुए हैं। उसी तरीके से केरला में स्टेट में PSC के 26 एग्जाम पेपर में इरेगुलरिटीज हुई हैं। कर्नाटक में जहां पर कांग्रेस की सरकार है, वहां भी प्रेपरेटरी बोर्ड एग्जाम में पेपर लीक हुआ, PUC के पेपर में लीक हुआ। तो इस तरीके से मेरे को तो ये कुछ नाम मैंने लिए हैं अभी। ये इसकी बहुत लंबी फेयर लिस्ट है जिसके बारे में हम चर्चा चाहेंगे कि जब चर्चा हो। लेकिन मैं पूछना चाहूंगा विपक्ष के नेता से, राहुल गांधी जी से, कि आप सिलेक्टिव क्यों हैं? वाई आर यू सो सिलेक्टिव? आपने यूपीए की और यूपीए के सपोर्टेड सरकारों को, जिसे हम इंडी गठबंधन कहते हैं, इंडी अलायंस कहते हैं, उनकी गवर्नमेंट्स के बारे में आपने क्यों नहीं चर्चा की? क्यों आपने अपने आप को उससे अलग रखा? यह स्पष्ट बताता है कि आपका उद्देश्य छात्रों का हित नहीं है। आपका उद्देश्य एजुकेशन में बढ़ोतरी हो, एजुकेशन की क्वालिटी में बढ़ोतरी हो, स्टूडेंट्स को जस्टिस मिले, इसमें आपका इंटरेस्ट नहीं है। आप स्टूडेंट्स के विषयों को, डिमांड्स को लेकर के आप पॉलिटिकल माइलेज लेना चाहते हैं, राजनीतिक रोटियां सेकना चाहते हैं, जो कि दुर्भाग्यपूर्ण है। लेकिन मैं इस मोड़ पर एक बात जरूर कहना चाहूंगा कि यह समय ये नहीं है कि हम, हमारी सरकारें, आपकी सरकारें, तुम्हारी सरकारें, इस तरीके से हम इन चीजों को विभाजित करें। ये गंभीर मसला है और जैसा मैंने आपके सामने कुछ नाम गिनाए, ये बड़ी लंबी लिस्ट है जिसमें यूपीए की सरकारें इन्वॉल्व हैं जहां पेपर लीक हुआ है। लेकिन हम आरोप प्रत्यारोप से बाहर निकल करके हमें इस पर चर्चा करनी चाहिए और चर्चा करने का जो सबसे अच्छा माध्यम है वो है सदन, वो है पार्लियामेंट। और हम चर्चा के लिए तैयार हैं। गहन चर्चा हो, गहन चर्चा के माध्यम से इसकी बारीकियों में हम जाएं, what are the factors which are leading to for paper leak, who are the people involved, and how the central government has responded. हमने किस तरीके से, जब हमारे ध्यान में कोई पेपर लीक आया है तो हमने किस तरीके से इसको एड्रेस किया है, और बाकी सरकारों को भी किस तरीके से इसमें एड्रेस करना चाहिए, क्या बिंदु हैं जिसके बारे में हमको गहराई से चिंतन करके उसका कोई रास्ता निकालना चाहिए, ताकि हमारे छात्रों के साथ जो करोड़ों में हैं उनके साथ अन्याय न हो। और भारतीय जनता पार्टी एनडीए इस मामले में मोदी जी के नेतृत्व में बहुत गंभीर है और बहुत गंभीरता से हमने इन विषयों को लिया है, और इसीलिए हमने चाहा है कि संसद में इसकी चर्चा हो। शॉर्ट ड्यूरेशन डिस्कशन, लॉन्ग ड्यूरेशन डिस्कशन, बिजनेस एडवाइजरी कमेटी में आप तय करो कितना समय आपने लेना है, 12 घंटे लेना है, 18 घंटे लेना है। राज्यसभा में मैं लीडर ऑफ द हाउस के नाते मैंने हमेशा इस बात को माना है कि जो विपक्ष जितने आवर्स तय करे, हम चर्चा के लिए तैयार हैं, सरकार चर्चा के लिए तैयार है, और विपक्ष को इस बात को ध्यान में लेकर के उसे गोल पोस्ट नहीं चेंज करना चाहिए। हम आरोप नहीं लगा रहे हैं, आरोप प्रत्यारोप नहीं होना चाहिए। हम इस समस्या का किस तरीके से निदान कर सकते हैं उसके बारे में हमको सोचना चाहिए, और पार्लियामेंट सबसे उपयुक्त फोरम है जहां हम गहराई से इसकी चिंतन कर सकते हैं। ड्यूरेशन विपक्ष तय करे और उसमें हर एक एस्पेक्ट्स के बारे में चर्चा हो, और हम कोई ठोस नीति लेकर के आए, क्योंकि बच्चे कोई हमारे हैं, आपके हैं, वो देश के भविष्य हैं, और देश के भविष्य की चिंता करना हमारी जिम्मेवारी है, और हमारी जिम्मेवारी में सरकार के साथ साथ विपक्ष की जिम्मेवारी भी है। इसलिए विपक्ष भी अपनी जिम्मेवारी को निभाए और हम सब साथ मिलकर इसका समाधान करें, और कोई स्थायी समाधान की दिशा में हम आगे बढ़ें, ऐसा मैं निवेदन करना चाहता हूं। आज मेरी तरफ से इतना ही कहना है। मैं फिर आपको आश्वस्त करता हूं कि मोदी जी के नेतृत्व में चलने वाली सरकार जिम्मेवार सरकार, रिस्पॉन्सिबल गवर्नमेंट, रिस्पॉन्सिव गवर्नमेंट, ये हमेशा आतुर है कि सभी बातों की संसद में चर्चा होनी चाहिए, और हम चर्चा के लिए तैयार हैं।
एक मिनट 2-3 सवाल ले पाएंगे, ज्यादा सवाल ले नहीं पाएंगे हम लोग। आमोद राय
इसमें आपने सीजेपी के कुछ नेताओं से मुलाकात की थी और ये कहा गया था कि वार्ता बहुत सफल रही, तो वार्ता किस असर में चली, क्या आपकी आज भी कोई बातचीत हुई है, आगे क्या इस पर हो सकता है, क्या आपको लगता है?
वार्ता बहुत सौहार्दपूर्ण वातावरण में हुई, उनकी बातें हमने बहुत शांति से सुनी। उनको मैंने ये भी कहा कि आप लिख करके देंगे तो अच्छा रहेगा। उन्होंने वो सारी बातें लिखी हैं, मैंने कहा मैं आपको रिस्पॉन्ड करूंगा। मैंने उनको रिस्पॉन्ड किया और मैंने उनको कहा है कि हम चर्चा के लिए तैयार हैं, आप जब कहेंगे हम चर्चा के लिए अग्रसर रहेंगे।
नीरज पांडे कोई बात नहीं पूछेंगे। नीरज पांडे
आज कोई चर्चा नहीं है।
क्या कुछ बातें हुई, क्योंकि बहुत लोग ये जानना चाहते हैं कि सोनम वांगचुक और सरकार के बीच में क्या वार्ता?
नहीं, हम तो उनका हालचाल पूछने गए। उनकी शिफ्टिंग हुई सफदरजंग से, हम वो मेदांता में पहुंचे, तो एक तो वो आईसीयू में थे, तो वहां पर बहुत रिस्ट्रिक्टेड वातावरण होता है, लेकिन उसके बीच में हमने उनका हालचाल पूछा, उनके बेटरमेंट की बातचीत हमने की, और हमने कहा कि आप अपना अनशन तोड़िए और आप मुख्य धारा में शामिल होकर के बच्चों को सही डायरेक्शन की तरफ आप ले जाएं। हमारे सरकार सारी विषयों के बारे में चर्चा करने के लिए खुली है और वो हमेशा उसको एड्रेस करेगी। तो उन्होंने कहा ठीक है, हम इस पर आपको आई विल रिस्पॉन्ड बैक। आज उन्होंने पत्र लिखा है, मुझे ओपन लेटर लिखा है, हम उस पर जवाब देंगे और जवाब दे करके वार्ता आगे बढ़े, इसकी हम चिंता करेंगे।
जतिन ठक्कर, आपने शुरू किया
उसकी गहन चर्चा होगी ना, पार्लियामेंट में चर्चा होगी, डिटेल में हम चर्चा करने के लिए तैयार हैं। जब हमने कह दिया एवरीथिंग रिलेटेड टू paper leak, we are ready to discuss on the forum of the parliament. We'll discuss.
चलिए
हम एक एक सवाल कीजिए। नहीं, इस तरीके से नहीं होते। हम चर्चा के लिए तैयार हैं, वो पार्लियामेंट में होगी, वो अपनी बातों को रखें, सरकार जवाब देगी।
शर्मा जी पूछो, लास्ट सवाल आप जल्दी पूछो।
मैं पार्लियामेंट में चर्चा करेंगे ना।
जो इशू जो सोनम वांगचुक ने जो अपने पत्र में आपको जो लिखा उसमें एड्रेस किए हैं, क्या मुद्दों का सरकार के पास समाधान है?
वी विल रिस्पॉन्ड, हम रिस्पॉन्ड करेंगे। उन्होंने लिख करके दिया, हम रिस्पॉन्ड करेंगे।
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद आप सब लोगों को।
बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद, बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
Okay, JP Nadda then saying that all discussions will take place only inside Parliament and that the government is ready to discuss all issues concerning paper leaks, which he says have involved this government and previous governments, including UPA governments. We'll wait and see how that plays out. But now, in a moment, I'll be back with the top news on the news today. Just in a moment. We'll be back in exactly 30 seconds. Good evening, hello and welcome. You're with the news today, your primetime destination. In a moment, I'm coming back with all the top headlines of the day and plenty more. Okay, my talking points tonight. I'll be on ground zero. I've spent the day at Jantar Mantar. What did I see? I'll tell you more on that. Also, a mood check from the Cockroach protest epicenter. That's my report that's coming up today, the voices of the students. And we have a big exclusive. Sonam Wangchuk's wife will be joining us from inside Medanta Hospital. Will the activist end his fast now or not? Gitanjali Angmo will join me on the show tonight. So we have a special coming up in a moment. But first, as always, it's time for the 9 headlines at 9. On day 25 of his hunger fast, Sonam Wangchuk issues a video statement, says he's ready to end his fast tonight itself if the government is ready to implement the assurances they've made to him. Lok Sabha LOP Rahul Gandhi reiterates his demand for Education Minister Dharmendra Pradhan's resignation, claims 0 convictions have happened despite 152 paper leaks over the last 10 years. Government says they are ready to debate NEET inside the parliament, will expose the opposition's claims. Supreme Court refuses to hear a plea on police action on the protests. Chief Justice of India says don't have time to watch videos, says don't waste your and our time. He gets a lot of flack on social media for making those remarks. Trinamool Congress MP Kalyan Banerjee suspended from the Lok Sabha for using unparliamentary language against women members of the House. Banerjee had a heated exchange with former colleagues after Lok Sabha adjournment. He claims he's being unfairly targeted. Jammu and Kashmir policeman on patrol shot dead in Anantnag. Lashkar proxy claims responsibility. A bike-borne miscreant opened fire, later fled the spot. The Tamil Nadu government issues an order renaming the Chief Minister's breakfast scheme after former Chief Minister K. Kamraj, launched by Stalin government in September 2022. Congress welcomes the move. After 16 years, former IPL chairman Lalit Modi eyes an India return. Lalit Modi cleared in the 2009 IPL South Africa FEMA case by an appellate tribunal. Iran-US conflict continues. US President Donald Trump warns that the US will strike Iranian bridges and power plants every time Tehran attacks a ship at the Strait of Hormuz.
and heavy rainfall in Jammu and Kashmir has increased water inflow into the Chenab River. All gates of the Salal Dam have been opened. But the story that's breaking at the moment, hours after penning a letter to Union Minister JP Nadda and Jitendra Singh on the impasse over the student protest, Sonam Wangchuk, the face of the protest, has just issued a video message a short while ago from Medanta Hospital. Just like in his letter, Wangchuk says he's ready to end his fast, provided legal action is not taken against the protesting students. He has warned the government if they do not comply with his demand that he claims also includes consideration will take place only inside Parliament and that the government is ready to discuss all.
चर्चा होगी ना
that also that's my one twist on it's 5 of his 12 have been that's breaking at the moment. Hours after penning a letter to Union Minister JP Nadda and Jitendra Singh on the impasse over the student protest, Sonam Wangchuk, the face of the protest, has just issued a video message a short while ago from Medanta Hospital. Just like in his letter, Wangchuk says he's ready to end his fast, provided legal action is not taken against the protesting students. He has warned the government if they do not comply with his demand that he claims also includes consideration of the resignation of the minister Dharmendra Pradhan. He will continue with his fast indefinitely. Meanwhile, JP Nadda, who spoke a short while ago, the BJP leader, has confirmed receiving Wangchuk's letter and said that he will respond to them after studying the report. Let's listen in first to what Sonam Wangchuk said a short while ago.
मैं सरकार से विनती करता हूं कि वो और ऐसे ताकत बल का प्रयोग न करें बच्चों पर, और दूसरी बात उन पर आरोप और एफआईआर जिससे कि उन्हें सताया जा सके जेल या पुलिस द्वारा, ये न करने की मुझे आश्वासन चाहिए। और वो आश्वासन अगर जल्द मिल जाए तो मैं आप सबके और जो नेतागण यहाँ पर आए उनकी बातों का इज्जत करते हुए अनशन आज ही तोड़ूंगा। मगर अगर ऐसा कोई आश्वासन नहीं आए तो बदकिस्मती से मुझे ये अनशन जारी रखना पड़ेगा। जय हिंद।
Joining me now at the moment is Aishwarya Paliwal, who remember was at that press conference of JP Nadda. Aishwarya Paliwal, you've heard what JP Nadda said, that we are ready for a discussion in Parliament. But he is not committing to the removal of Dharmendra Pradhan. Let's get it clear. Is the government still unwilling to even put that on the table? Because Sonam Wangchuk has said in the letter, considering the government should consider the resignation of Dharmendra Pradhan. Is that a no-no for the government? No question of considering the resignation?